What if I told you that the very reason you can't walk through walls is the same reason you might feel blocked from manifesting your dreams? That deep in the quantum realm a rule exists which governs why matter resists overlap, and that rule also holds the key to your spiritual power. You've been taught manifestation is about thinking positive thoughts, but what if the real mechanism is written into the fabric of reality itself? It's time to merge quantum physics and spirituality, to see how the invisible rules of the universe mirror your inner world. Because when you understand the principle that two fermions cannot occupy the same quantum state, you'll begin to see why some people seem stuck in place while others move through life. Stay with me, as we dive deep into the hidden laws of matter, mind and manifestation, and unlock the path to walking through your own walls. Life often feels like a wall. You're pushing, striving, hoping, and yet something invisible holds you back. You feel blocked, restricted, unable to step into the next version of yourself. It's as though you want to pass through a barrier, but you can't. On a spiritual level you sense potential, you tune into possibility, but your reality remains unchanged. On a quantum level you're learning there's a reason why matter itself resists being penetrated. The rule is named after a brilliant physicist, Wolfgang Pauli, and it's called the Pauli Exclusion Principle. No two identical fermions can occupy the same quantum state. In simpler terms, you cannot occupy the same space as someone else if you share the same exact state. And by the same logic you cannot occupy the same vibration, frequency, identity, or potential if you remain in the old self. So when you try to manifest something greater, you run into resistance, not because your dream is wrong, but because you haven't shifted your quantum state. Most spiritual teachers say you must raise your vibration, but they don't show what is resisting you. The problem is, you're trying to manifest from a state that's already full, or already matched, or already defined. The structure of matter itself tells us, when electrons fill a shell they cannot all collapse into the lowest state because of Pauli's principle. What does that feel like in real life? Imagine you've been in the same job for years, you've doubled down on effort, you've visualized and meditated, and yet promotion never comes. You feel as if you're banging a wall. Meanwhile you watch someone else effortlessly ascend, and you think, why not me? On the spiritual side you hear, just raise your frequency. But you don't know how to change the underlying quantum rule that you've locked into. This is the real root of stuckness. Because matter resists being in the same state as another, and so your life resists you staying in the old state while trying to step into the new. Another real story, I once met a man named David, name changed, who had every resource you could think of, money, education, network, but spiritually he felt frozen. He told me, I feel like I'm living the same day in two different bodies. He kept praying for change, for freedom, yet at night he'd wake with the same anxiety, the same tension. Why? Because his internal identity didn't upgrade. His energy state remained identical to the day before. He was trying to manifest a new role, mentor, leader, visionary, but inside he was still the same role as 2 years ago. The quantum principle tells us, you cannot occupy two identical states at once, you must shift. And for the whole universe, that is what gives structure to matter. The reason you and I are solid and don't merge into each other is because of that exclusion. So the problem is deeper than just resistance or lack of belief. You're trying to manifest from a state whose quantum state is already filled, already saturated, or already defined. Your energetic shell is full, your identity is stable, and the new manifestation cannot occupy that same shell unless you change your state. That invisible rule makes you wait. It makes you struggle. It creates friction in your life and often you don't even know why. And don't be fooled, this applies to relationships, finances, career, even your spiritual role. Until you shift your internal quantum numbers, your beliefs, your identity, your sense of self, you will keep hitting the wall. It's not you being weak, it's physics. The quantum structure of matter reflects the spiritual structure of manifestation. The walls you feel are real, they are the walls of fermionic exclusion, of vibrational identity. Now here's the good part, Once you realize this is not just metaphoric but has a precise counterpart in quantum physics, you gain a new freedom. You stop blaming yourself. You see the mechanism. You begin to work with the rule instead of against it. And that leads us to the discovery. One of the greatest insights of modern science is understanding that matter isn't just solid, unchanging stuff. At the quantum level, everything is energy, wave functions, probabilities. And then there's Wolfgang Pauli, in January 1925, announcing the exclusion principle: no two identical fermions can occupy the same state. That simple rule explains why atoms have structure, why chemistry works, why you can't walk through walls even though atoms are mostly empty space. Take a wall, it's solid. But you know what? Between the atoms there's vast space. Yet you can't pass through. Why? Because the electrons in the atoms of the wall already occupy all the quantum states available, so your electrons cannot collapse into them. The exclusion principle gives matter its solidity. The seemingly inert barrier is energetic. This means, manifesting isn't about collapsing something new into your old identity. It's about creating a new state altogether, one that doesn't conflict with the filled old shell. Spiritually, this is huge. In my journey I discovered something: the same quantum rule that gives matter its rigidity also gives you the blueprint for how to shift into a new state of manifestation. It's not about forcing your new reality into the old container, it's about changing the container. For years I had tried meditations and affirmations but my life stayed trapped. Then I realized, I was still being the same person. Yes, I had altered my goals and visualized the future, but energetically I was in the same quantum orbit. I didn't change my identity, my vibration, my state quantum numbers. And so the quantum field refused to let my manifestation collapse. It excluded me from occupying the same energetic orbital. Once I read about the exclusion principle in simple physics texts: no two electrons in an atom can have the same four quantum numbers. I thought, if two electrons can't be in the same state, what if I've been trying to occupy the same state I was already in? What if my manifestation fails because it tries to collapse into my current identity? That insight changed everything. I began to ask, what are my quantum numbers? What's my energy state? My beliefs? My identity? My sense of self? What shell am I in? And then I discovered a metaphor: you are like an electron. You orbit your identity. Your beliefs, your story, your behavior define your quantum state. To move to the next level, you must change at least one quantum number, maybe two. For an atom, the numbers are n, principal quantum number; l, azimuthal, angular momentum, quantum number; m, magnetic quantum number; s, spin quantum number. For you, their identity, vibration, purpose, vision. You cannot just change your goal. If your vibration or identity remains the same, the exclusion principle says, sorry, you can't join that new shell. That's why some people manifest quickly, they change their quantum state. Others stay stuck, they did not. This discovery is not just metaphoric, it's anchored in real quantum physics. The exclusion principle underpins the structure of atoms, the periodic table, the fact that matter occupies volume and resists collapse. The same rule means, you can't just step into a higher version of you while wearing the same energetic outfit. You need to upgrade. And so, my discovery was both scientific and spiritual: to move through walls of resistance you must shift state. Let me share a story. I worked with a client, call her Sarah, who kept getting the same relationship storms. She visualized a peaceful partnership, she meditated, she even wrote the perfect script for her life. But each time the new partner got sucked into her old story of victimhood, blame, carrying. After a while she realized, she hadn't changed her inner state. Her identity was still, I'm not worthy. So she was trying to manifest a partner in the same state that deserved the old story. Once she started shifting that belief, changing her identity to, I am worthy of love in this new form, the energy changed. The manifestation arrived easily. That was her quantum shift. So here is the discovery: the universe is rigged not to let you occupy a new shell without transformation. The quantum rule is built in. You are both the discoverer and the discovered, the scientist and the manifested. By internalizing this rule, you begin to see that manifestation isn't magic, it's a physics plus spirituality process. And now you're ready for the method. Now that we understand the problem and the discovery, it's time to take action. How do you actually shift your quantum state and start manifesting your desired reality? This is where the science and spirituality meet, step by step. Step 1. Identify your current quantum state. Everything starts with awareness. Imagine your current identity as a quantum shell, full of habits, beliefs, and energy patterns. Ask yourself, who am I right now? What stories do I carry? What beliefs are shaping my reality? Take a moment to sit quietly. Close your eyes. Breathe in deeply 3 times. Picture yourself as an energy field. What color is it? Is it tight, rigid, or loose and flowing? Visualize all your limitations, fears, and old habits as a semi-transparent wall surrounding you. Recognize it. Don't fight it. This is your current quantum state. Step 2. Define your target quantum state. Next, picture the version of yourself that has broken through the wall, the one living your dream life. What beliefs does this person hold? What emotions do they radiate? What energy flows from them effortlessly? Create a vivid mental image. Imagine a golden aura forming around this new self, expanding outward. This is your target state, your new shell. Write down a few statements. I am confident. I am abundant. I am free. These are your new quantum numbers, the variables you will now embody. Step 3. Release the old self. Here is where many people fail. They try to manifest something new while clinging to old energy. Remember the Pauli Exclusion Principle: 2 identical states cannot occupy the same space. To move forward, you must release your old state. Try this exercise. Write a letter to your old self. Thank it for protecting you and keeping you safe. Then, symbolically release it, tear it up, burn it safely, or dissolve it in water. As you do this, feel your energy shift. Watch the particles of old identity disperse into the universe, making room for the new you. Step 4. Embody the new state. Now, step into the new quantum shell fully. Move, act, think, and speak as this upgraded version of yourself. Let your body, posture, and facial expressions align with this identity. For example, if your new self is confident, stand tall, make eye contact, and speak clearly. If your new self is abundant, take actions that reflect generosity, donate, share, or invest in growth. Your energy and behavior must match the new state. This is the core of manifestation, not just thinking, but being. Step 5. Daily alignment practice. Transformation is not a one-time event. Each morning, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Repeat your new identity statements: I am free. I am abundant. I am powerful. Visualize your energy field glowing brighter with each affirmation. At night, journal your experiences. Notice moments where you embodied your new state. Even small shifts count. Over time, your field will recalibrate, your quantum numbers will stabilize, and your manifestations will begin to align naturally. Step 6. Trust the process. Finally, surrender to the universal flow. Once your new quantum state is active, the universe adjusts around you. You are no longer trying to force matter into an old shell. Instead, you allow energy to respond to your vibration. Trust, gratitude, and consistent practice will amplify the results. Example story. Maria had been stuck in the same relationship pattern for years. She wanted love but constantly attracted the wrong partners. When she applied this method, she first acknowledged her old self-identity of unworthiness. Then she defined her target state, confident, loving, and deserving of healthy love. She released the old patterns and began acting as her new self. Within months, she met someone aligned with this upgraded energy, effortlessly, as if the universe had been waiting for her shift. Here's what happens when you shift your quantum state: you walk through the wall. Not literally through a concrete wall, but through the barrier that held you. Your story changes. Your identity alters. The manifestations start aligning. The people, circumstances, possibilities you couldn't see before become visible. In quantum physics, the exclusion principle gives matter its solidity and stability. Without it, everything would collapse, occupy the same state, and the universe would be a chaotic smear. The stability of your identity gives you the foundation to evolve. When you shift your state, you break the old stability and create a new one. Spiritually, you cross the threshold from "I'm trying" to "I am." One transformation story: John had been financially struggling for years. He visualized abundance, read books, attended workshops, but nothing changed. His deeper issue? He identified as the broke guy. He stepped into the new state: I am abundant, I provide value, I attract wealth. He embodied it in small actions: he gave freely, he bought from others, he changed his inner dialogue. Within months his income doubled and, more importantly, he felt expansive. That inner shift allowed the manifestation to flow, because he changed his quantum state. Another transformation: Anna had always played small in relationships. She said she wanted a deep partnership but acted like a backup plan. She identified as not first choice. She changed to I choose myself, I receive love as my birthright. Suddenly the energy changed. She attracted a partner who mirrored that belief, and the relationship progressed at a speed she had once thought impossible. She realized the wall wasn't the other person, it was her own belief about identity and state. In your own life you may begin to notice subtle changes. You feel lighter in your body, you find yourself making decisions aligned with your new state instead of your old fear. Doors open. You meet people who just get your new self. Opportunities you once ignored now call out to you. Your manifestations no longer feel forced, they feel magnetic. And because you changed your quantum numbers, you are no longer competing with your old self. The exclusion principle says you cannot occupy two identical states simultaneously. Once you shift, you leave the old behind. That can feel scary. There's a tension between the old comfort and the new unknown. But that tension is just the resistance of a quantum shell reshaping. As you stay in your new shell, the old one dissolves. You don't see yourself as someone trapped who happened to manifest something, but you become someone who is evolving continuously. Importantly, you will still face challenges. Transformation isn't perfectly linear. There may be times you feel back in old state. That's okay. When you sense it, go back to step 1, identify the state, release, embody. Think of it as adjusting the dial. Quantum states are fluid. The universe is not punishing you, it's simply responding to your energetic setting. And one of the most powerful outcomes: freedom. Because once you shift your state, you are no longer trying to force matter into your ideas. You're allowing matter, and energy, to build around your new frequency. You stop trying to walk through the wall. You become the wall-less version of yourself. And you begin to walk through life rather than bump your head. At this stage you might ask, what's next? How do I share this? How do I serve this? That leads to the mission. Now that you understand the rule, discovered its spiritual counterpart, applied the method, experienced transformation, you're ready to take the mission. Because manifestation isn't just personal, it's universal. You entering your new quantum shell isn't just for you, it's for the collective. Your mission is to become a bridge, between quantum physics and spirituality, between science and soul, between possibility and reality. You now stand in a unique vantage point. You've seen how the Pauli Exclusion Principle gives solidity to matter, and you understand that the same exclusion dynamic governs identity and manifestation. Now your mission, to help others shift their state so they too can unlock and walk through their walls. Let me share a story. Maria, the client I mentioned before, decided to run a small circle for women who felt stuck. She used the method. Within 6 months, she was leading gatherings, mentoring others, and she realized, her purpose wasn't just to manifest her life, it was to teach the rules so others could too. That's mission. From quantum state to collective awakening. Your mission can take many forms. You may become a coach, a writer, an intuitive guide, an influencer, a practitioner. Your signature offering might be helping people shift identity so they manifest effortlessly. You might use both quantum metaphor and spiritual practice to show people how to reshell their energy. You might host live sessions, webinars, write articles, create YouTube videos. Whatever it is, your mission is to carry this message forward. Here's a practical mission exercise. Write a mission statement starting with, I will, for example, I will guide 1,000 people this year to shift their quantum state so they can manifest the life they were created to live. Be specific. Then design one action each week that serves that mission. It could be posting a short video, writing a blog, offering a free session, forming a group. Action is the quantum jump from your private shift into collective impact. Remember, the universe supports your mission. Once you've aligned your state, manifestation shifts from personal to global. Your breakthrough becomes the doorway for others. And because you are no longer in the old shell, you won't stay stuck in the same mode of struggling to manifest. You'll move into creating, serving, expanding. Let me reflect. Why is this mission so important? Because the world is hungry for coherence. People are doing manifestation tips, but few understand the quantum laws underneath. Few know that identity level shift is the key. You have the privilege of being one of the first to show the bridge. You're not just walking through your own walls, you're helping others tear down theirs. And now, the call to action. I invite you to step into your mission today. Write your mission statement. Share your story. Offer your first act of service. Don't wait until you have everything, you already have the quantum shift. Embody it. Then help others embody theirs. The field is ready. The physics is aligned. The spiritual path is beckoning. Your transformation is real. Your mission is alive. And when you live in the new state, you become the change you came to manifest. Walk through the walls. Show others the door. Illuminate the path. This is your quantum spiritual life. If you resonated with this message, hit subscribe, click the like button, and comment below, I am in the new shell. Share this video with someone who's feeling stuck, someone who's banging their head on an invisible wall. Join our community of people shifting state and rewriting reality. Download the free worksheet, link in the description, to map your current quantum state, define your target state, and begin your mission. Make the choice right now. You won't just manifest a new outcome, you will become the person who naturally walks through walls. Thank you for being here. Let's rise together.